What's going on, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel, and if it's your first time, like and subscribe to the channel, and also don't forget to leave a comment if you feel like what I'm saying is correct, or if you have a disagreement, leave a comment down on the comment section. So today I want to be talking about, is Colombia getting more dangerous? In my personal opinion, from what I've seen in the last few years, well, I've been coming here for a few years, but I usually stay in Medellin, but I've been to other cities as well. I think Colombia after COVID has definitely seen an increase in crimes. Definitely when it comes to the druggings, I could honestly say the druggings are out of control. It's just there's no lid to stop the druggings. There's just it seems there's the government here doesn't have an answer to stop it, And even when they do capture some of these people, they just give them a few months and then let them go. So it's kind of just and you see other YouTubers talk about how the police have the persons, the perpetrators, and they let them walk away. There's no consequences. There's no consequences for criminal activity in Colombia. It's just that simple. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I want to be honest. I try to be honest as much as possible with all my videos, And if I could be honest, I just don't think there's any consequences. I've talked about it in other videos as well. I was with a friend one time, and they stole her cell phone in Poblado. And actually, there's this guy that he was selling cards. And he put the cards in front of her face, but with one hand, he had the cards on her face, and with the other hand, he was able to dig into her. She had this little pack, and then he was able to take the cell phone out, and we didn't even notice the cell phone was gone until we got to the bar, and she was like, "Oh, my cell phone!" And then I was just thinking, I was like, "Oh, it must have been that guy," and he did it with there was a camera. The camera caught him, and he still did it. That's what I'm telling you. You see, and so we went to the police station, or the precinct, if you want to say it, a small precinct, and there was maybe 15 guys that had caught stealing that night. And there was a table full of cell phones, maybe 10, 15 cell phones, and about 10 guys arrested. And we waited until 3 in the morning because they told us, "Stay here, we might catch the guy that stole your cell phone." So we just stayed there, but at the end of the day, nothing happened. We ended up leaving, and what I could tell was that those guys were gonna let them go. So there's no consequences. That's why these guys don't care, because even if they get caught, they're not gonna go to jail, and they know it. And actually, when I went to the Bad Bunny concert in Bogota, I went through. This is my first encounter that I got. I had to get aggressive with a Colombian. He got aggressive with me. He threatened me, physically threatened me with harm. And so we're in the wrong line to enter the stadium or whatever. This will happen in Bogota, right? And there's a guy that was like, "Yeah, I could take you to the shorter line. This is not the correct line." And he's telling us how much he's gonna charge us. And I think he was charging 40 mil pesos for each of us. And we're like, whatever, we'll do it. But when we got to the line, the correct line we're supposed to go in, it was a really short line. And it was just a hustle for him. And so when I got there with the girl, and she was like, "You know what, dude, you're just trying to scam us. We're not gonna pay you this money." He's like, No, I took you all the way over here." "Yeah, you did, but at the end of the day, you're scamming us. This is too much money you're asking for, He's like, "Yeah, you know what, you have to pay us, And then the girl went to go call the police, because there's a huge police presence there and security presence there. And so while she took off to go, call the police or whatever, the police were just not even maybe 30 feet away from us. They're all over the place, a lot of them. And so she went to go get the police. The guy's like, "You know what, dude, I could take a knife on you, and even if I stab you, the next day I get out of jail. You know how it is over here in Colombia." And so I just give him 20 mil pesos, which is $4. And he took off, and the girl came back all angry, "Nah, you should have not given him nothing." "Yeah, but you know what, dude?" I was like, "I don't have nothing to defend myself if he pulls a weapon, But he went as far as threatening me, and so I wasn't scared, And to be honest with you, I wanted to hit him in the face, if I could be honest. I don't like it when people threaten me like that. I don't play around that shit. But yeah, he's like, we'll get out the next day in jail. But this is just the way it is over here in Colombia. You have to realize that how to move over here. I've seen the drugs increase. Unfortunately, 2 Americans already passed away. Since I've been here, and I don't know, just kind of I think the guy that passed away, he looked like he was a really nice guy. He just, he was a traveler, so he was a seasoned traveler from what it seems like. And, unfortunately, he just didn't know how things work in Medellin, Colombia, or the country itself, And I think Tinder is already becoming dangerous. Criminal enterprises have infiltrated it. And, I just I just think, now it's becoming more aware publicly people are becoming more aware of what's going on. But Colombia's always been dangerous, but now it's just like, you know, it kind of seems like the people here are kind of like, how would I say the word, mellow to it. Like they're kind of just like have grown up to it. Like they're kind of like, you know, Medellin for a long time was like very dangerous, one of the most dangerous cities in the world during, like, you know, the Pablo Escobar days. You know, it was a high rate murder city, you know. But people have to realize that, you know, Colombia for a long time in the 90s and 80s was very dangerous, very violent. Like what you're seeing now in Mexico, the violence that you see in Mexico is like what's going on over here. But I think people are kind of like accustomed to it in a certain way, like the jackings, the robberies. There's so many videos that I've seen of like somebody coming up in a bike with another guy armed. They go in. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you look it up, you're gonna find a bunch of videos of guys coming to like maybe like a coffee shop or something like that, a store, a restaurant, and they go in with a weapon and they steal everybody's cell phones, purses, wallets, and within smash and grab, within 20 seconds they're out of there. Boom. 20 seconds. And actually there was actually like a shootout a few months ago, like a big time shootout. Like if you look it up on the internet, it comes out like they're robbing like a jewelry store, I believe, and they killed some of the robbers, but most of them got away. Like obviously they were like in motorcycles, but it was like a bunch of people too. It was like maybe like 20 people like robbing the jewelry store at the same time, and you know, they killed some of the guys, you know. But I kind of think like the robberies over here are definitely out of control. The druggings are out of control. If you come over here, you walk around, you feel safe, but at the same time you kind of sense like, you know, there's danger around the corner, you know. Like even now, like I'm just kind of like, I've been coming here for many years, but I feel now I'm a little bit more paranoid now. I think Cali's even more dangerous. People have always told me that Cali's way more dangerous, and I believe it. Like the code approach doesn't work in Cali as much as Medellin, because Medellin, the people are more like open. But it's not because the people are closed in Cali. It's more because like the dangers that are around the corner, you know, like the security issues. And that's why, like, I actually met a girl that was like, the girl that I did an interview with, she's actually an Uber driver and she doesn't work at night. She tells me like past 6 o'clock, I'm done and I go home. So, and then she also describes in the video how, like, if you haven't seen the other video with the girl in Cali, you know, she's talking about, you know, how, you know, why some of the women are like that, you know, just security issues, you know. It's not because they're, you know, they're stuck up or they have attitudes or anything like that. It has more likely to do with, you know, the security issues that you see in that city, you know. And, you know, to be honest with you, compare Cali to the other cities in Colombia, the infrastructure is not that good. You know, it feels like the city has kind of been left behind compared to other cities in Bogota or Medellin or even other smaller cities in Colombia. But I mean, maybe that's why there's a high rate of crime in Cali, but you know, you do have to be careful over there, you know. And also what happened with me, like my phone was stolen in Cartagena during Independence Day, and there was a huge police presence, you know. Like I'm telling you, the criminals don't care, you know. Like even if they get caught, so what? Like I told you, they're gonna let them go within the day. And so even when the girls get caught drugging somebody, they let them go. So there you have it. That's your answer. And so when they were like, you know, what they did in the celebration was that there was like, you know, they would spray you with foam and then throw like, you know, powder in your face. And when that happened to me, I was, you know, I had a spray gun too, because I was in the crowd having fun. And, you know, somebody bumped me and took my cell phone and I didn't even feel it. And there was another guy at the hostel as well. They took his cell phone as well. And it's so disappointed, because when I came back, when they stole my phone, the girl at the reception was like, oh, you know, you need to be careful, they're stealing cell phones, and don't even take your GoPro, don't take your camera. And I was like, they just took my cell phone. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, yeah, you know, but it is what it is, you know. So you know, stuff happens, you know, but you have to be aware, you know. If you're gonna be coming to Colombia for festivals, you know, I think Amazon sells a chain that attaches to your cell phone, so that way if somebody tries to like pickpocket you, you know, like it pulls it, so you'll be aware. And you know what, I'll take it a step further. I think if you come to Colombia, there's tactical stores they have here. There's one in Medellin, and you could definitely keep yourself safe by buying pepper spray. You never know, man. You never know. I never felt like I needed pepper spray in any other country, not even in America, but I feel like here I definitely need it. After that guy threatened me with a knife or whatever, like, I was like, yeah, you know. And if I would have had the pepper spray, I would have probably maced them. I would probably have got arrested. Like, that's how messed up the things are over here. They would have probably got me. They'd be like, oh, why didn't you mace him? I'm like, well, he threatened me and shit with a knife, so I wasn't gonna take no chances. But anyways, though, you know, I think, you know, if you come over here, you want to feel a little bit more safer, you could definitely invest in pepper spray. It's only $20, and guess what? It could save your life if you're coming over here long term or even short term in Medellin. And also get that chain that they sell on Amazon for your cell phone. So that way, I saw a guy that had it, and I kind of laughed at him at first, but now I'm the one, he's the one laughing at me, because look at me now, like, I don't have a cell phone, you know. I had to buy it, like, I had an emergency cell phone, a cheap one, but I have to get another one when I go back to the States. But yeah, two things that I would highly invest in is a pepper spray. You come over here, and also that like chain that you could get on Amazon for your cell phone. And especially if you're gonna go during festivals, let's say Carnival and Barenque, they're out there. Cartagena during Independence Day, they're out there. And so you definitely have to be aware that, you know, people you do stand out. You know, I feel like I don't stand out too much, but even with that being said, you do have to, like, you know, have your head on the swivel when you come over here. As far as the drunkenness is concerned, I've said this many times, I'll repeat it again. There's no hookup culture in Colombia. You're not that attractive. You're not James Bond, okay? You're not, you know, you're not Bad Bunny where girls are gonna want to go to your apartment right away, okay? So if a girl wants to go to your apartment, that's a red flag. There's no hookup culture. And to keep it more realer, like, if you're not even gonna be here for a long time, just maybe like 2 or 3 weeks or not even a month, a lot of the girls that are middle class, upper class, girls that are, you know, that are professionals, sometimes won't even waste their time with you. You know, they'll be like, this guy's just gonna be here for like a week, you know. But it just depends though too, you know, like, you're just looking for friends, then, you know, they might look the other way. But if you're looking for something serious and the girl wants something serious, she's not gonna waste her time with you. And it's very traditional here as far as meeting people. Like, people meet each other here through friends. And when I first got here, like a few years ago, I did it the correct way. I met girls through friends, mutual friends. Hey, you know, this is my friend Vanessa, or this is my friend whatever. And I met some really, like, respectable, you know, middle class, higher class women like that. Guess what I did? I started using Tinder. I met some good girls on Tinder, but the majority of them have been like, you know, actually this year I went out with a few girls. I think 2 of them I found out later on they were prepagas. Another one did webcam. So there's gonna be some, and you have to realize this: if you meet a girl on Tinder, she's talking to 20 to 50 other guys. Like, she's talking to a bunch of guys versus a girl that you meet down the street. So, and it's easy to meet girls here in the streets. Like, the cold approach works here compared to other cities in Colombia. You know, Medellin is like a great city where you can meet some great people, but you gotta learn how to move, you know. I think when I've met girls and they introduce me to their families, I feel a lot more safer, because now I know where she lives at. And I met girls like that. I had one girl invite me to her party, and I went. And I've had girls invite me to their houses. I meet the moms, you know, the parents, the cousins, the family. And so you kind of, like, you know, you can kind of get immersed into that culture if you move the correct way. And I think most girls, if they really find you attractive, or even if they see you as a good friend, they invite you to their house sometimes, though. Might not cook for you, but, you know, you could go hang out and maybe order a pizza and watch Netflix. I've done that a couple of times. It's not really a common thing here in Colombia. Most girls like to go out, to be honest. So don't think like, oh, you know, it happens a lot. But I think, like, once you get that connection, you can start hanging around those type of people. I went away from that. I started using Tinder, and I'm just like, I don't think Tinder is really good. I think the women over here flake a lot, to be honest with you. So don't take it personal. Like, you know, I was talking to this other YouTuber this weekend that's filming over here in Medellin, actually. And he was telling me as well, like, man, you pretty much have to invite like 5 girls so you could get one guaranteed date on the weekend. And I was like, yeah, that's true. But, you know, I think, you know, there's dangers in any country you go to, in any city. You know, Rio de Janeiro is known for being dangerous as well. Brazilians always tell me, you know, but I was always careful when I was there. Actually, Rio de Janeiro was the city where I was the most careful, more careful than Medellin. Like, when I was there, I never carried my wallet. I carried maybe like 100 reals, which is about $20 or something like that. And I had a cell phone. I was like, well, I have insurance on my cell phone. That's another thing that I could recommend that you could do. Have pepper spray, have that chain for your cell phone, and also have insurance on your cell phone. If you could get insurance, if you have like T-Mobile or, you know, another company, you know, you could definitely get that insurance on your cell phone. Or if you want, you could buy a cheap $150 phone that you could throw away. You could get, for $200, you could get a decent phone and put a chip on it, and that way when you go out, you leave your good phone here, and you use that phone that's like $150 or $200, and that way if it does get stolen, hey, no big deal, you know. And I have been stopped by police and asked me for ID. So obviously what you might want to do is print your passport and have it laminated in plastic. I have a friend that does that. Or you could do your ID as well, you know, print it out as well, and you could carry that. And if you don't want to carry your wallet, you just carry whatever money you feel like you're going to use that day, like $100 or whatever. You could have maybe your pepper spray. You could have that chain link or your cell phone. You know, you could do certain things to protect yourself. It's not going to be 100% proof, but hey, man, you have a cheap throwaway cell phone that's $150 and it gets stolen. It's not a big deal to you because you're just like, what? I don't even use this cell phone. I don't give a shit. So yeah, man, like definitely use a throwaway cell phone, you know. I regret, like, I lost my cell phone. I had it for a few years. I had a lot of pictures, and unfortunately I didn't have a lot of those pictures saved up. I also recommend getting iCloud, or you not have like a storage, and you know, you could save some of those pictures, because don't be like me where I was in Europe and I lost all the pictures that I had from Europe, and I was just, man. And you know, also my account was hacked on IG, so I had to make another one. And yeah, man, I just a thing that I also did with my cell phone was I backed up my contacts on Google. You could back up your contacts, so I had all my contacts. And on Instagram, unfortunately, when my account got hacked, like I was able to get some of my friends back, but I lost the majority of them. And I have friends that I know from Europe and stuff like that. So you do have to be careful. You know, those are the things that I recommend. I recommend pepper spray, the chain link for your cell phone. Take a picture ID. That way you don't have to carry your wallet. Take $100 or whatever you feel like you're gonna waste that night. $150. I mean, honestly, like Colombia is not really expensive. Just depending on your lifestyle, you feel like you're gonna spend a couple of $100. Well, take out a couple of $100 and just leave your wallet at home and just have that money. That way, if somebody does rob you, guess what? They only get the money that you have on your pocket. That cell phone that's $150, they could keep it. I was like, you're good to go. You're good to go. You come back, you still have your cell phone that you use every day, and you still have your credit cards. You're good. And shit, you're good, man. And so I was lucky enough when I went to that carnival or the Independence Day thing. I was smart enough not to take my wallet. I was like, I'm not taking my wallet. Hell no. But I was dumb enough to take my cell phone. So, you know, and I've been traveling for many years. So Cartagena is definitely dangerous. Actually, some of the druggies that are going on, the Pisces are doing it as well. Even like, you know, one of the girls that I met that does tour guides in Medellin was telling me, yeah, the police don't care. They're not going to do nothing. And in Cartagena, the girls that are drugging, they're from Medellin, most of them. And I was like, yeah, that's what I think. So you do have to be careful how you move, man. I just think, like, I've seen a lot of like YouTubers and people on other panels saying like they wouldn't recommend Medellin for first time travelers. And I agree with them. And I think these last like 2 years, or this year especially, crime has gotten out of control. I'm seeing more and more videos of people getting jacked. I saw a video of a guy getting money from an ATM, and a guy went in there and, you know, put a gun on him and he took his money out, you know. So it's one of those things where it's like you're seeing more and more videos. And, you know, at least in Brazil, the police had a zero tolerance for the bandidos. Like, they were killing bandidos left and right. And so a lot of people were happy in Brazil. That's why this president, you know, was, you know, popular for a while. Well, he lost the election. But the Brazilian president that was there, like, actually he himself got stabbed. There's a video of the Brazilian president getting stabbed, and so he had like a zero tolerance on the gangs and stuff like that. Actually, I believe El Salvador is doing the same thing with the gangs. Like, they took their mattresses out of the jails. They don't give them, you know, chicken. They give them like cheap food. They don't have internet access no more. No cell phones. No nothing. No good times. And so some countries are bringing down the hammer. I don't know why Medellin is not doing that. I don't know why Colombia is not doing it. Mexico also needs to bring the hammer, but they're not doing it. The president has a policy of hugs, not bullets. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, Mexico is definitely getting out of control with the violence as well. But they're not really targeting like civilians or tourists like they do in Colombia. Like, tourists are, you know, off limits. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they're not really touched. You know, I'm not saying that people don't get robbed and stuff like that, but they do. Even the guy that was in the hostel with me and that got his cell phone stolen that day in Cartagena, he told me when he was in Bogota, some guy had a chain around his neck. And he saw a guy, like, during the day, a crowd put a knife on the guy's neck and take his chain out. And there's during the day. And so no Rolex, no jewelry, nothing that says I'm a gringo. You know, just be careful, you know. Porbado, just because you see police over there doesn't mean shit. I'm telling you, dude, like, and even if they do catch them, like, the police ain't gonna do nothing, man. And so you have to, like, you have to be careful, man. You have to be careful how you move over there. Colombia is just like a wonderful country, you know. People are very friendly in Medellin. But I just kind of feel like, you know, some people are, they can understand that, Medellin has issues, but some people like are just so mellow to it that sometimes they even get upset. I've had, a few people get mad at me because, I tell the truth. I was like, bro, like there's a Pablo Escobar culture in Medellin and the barrios. When you go out with those barrio girls, and I've hanged out with a lot of barrio girls. I'm not saying all of them are bad because that's not true, but you have to realize that in those barrios, there's a Pablo Escobar culture of getting to the money. And shit, getting to the money is very important for some of these people. And so the values that they have get thrown out. So that's why in Medellin you see a lot of plastic. You even see older women wear plastic, and I just kind of like, whatever, to each their own. And then, the robberies, the druggings, these people are going into people's cell phones. Like I have two friends that got drugged this year in Medellin. One got drugged in the club, and he ended up in a hospital, almost lost his life. Thank goodness that he pulled through. But he was telling me at the hospital there was also people there that were also drugged. So the druggings are definitely out of control, and we don't know how many druggings are happening because there's a lot of guys that are not reporting it. Imagine all the guys that are professionals or lawyers or something like that they don't want like their business out there. Maybe the professional got drugged and he just he didn't want to say anything. And so we have to like be aware of that. I mean, you can move safely in Colombia, but you have to be aware that there's dangers any city you go to. And I believe I saw Taylor May's Dreams comment last night on Razor Ray. Shout out to Razor Ray. He has a good YouTube channel. If you haven't looked at his channel, he talks a lot about Colombia and different countries as well. But he's like he gets really into a lot of details in Colombia, and he's been coming here for a while, so he's a veteran travel. So Razor Ray has a good YouTube channel. You should definitely subscribe to his channel and watch his channel because he has a lot of useful information about Colombia and other countries as well. I would also say, he had a guest on his panel last night, and he was talking about how he got drugged, and how the police were just like, well, you're alive, there's nothing we can do about it. It's just the way it is, bro. Like, you're on your own. If something happens to you in Colombia, you're on your own. That's why it's good to make friends with some of the expats here. You could go watch football games. You could go to some of the bars here. There's a lot of, expat bars here. There's Sweet Georgia. There's Prox and Rhinos. There's Medellin sports bars. There's some different things, And if you want to do the local thing, which I think is a lot better, my personal thing, what I've seen, I think this is the biggest secret out there, but people don't want to do it. They'd rather go on Tinder. Dancing lessons, dancing clubs, man. I went to one of them one time and I saw Americans getting numbers left and right. I think those guys must have got maybe like 3 or 5 numbers in 1-2 hours. Like that. And that beats Tinder because you're looking at the girl right there, and I don't know. I don't know, man. I just think Tinder is not that good. You have a chance, that you could get robbed, So I think, the point that I'm trying to get across to my audience is that if you come to Colombia, you have to be aware of your surroundings and you have to take precautions. And that's in any country, to be honest with you, because I've had bad things happen to me in Mexico, and in Dominican Republic, I've had my card swiped. So I've been to different places where things have happened to me. So it's just I'm not trying to just say, oh, only Colombia this happens. Like, no, that happens everywhere. I've actually in Dominican Republic, I've had my card identity taken twice. And in Mexico, I got my card, my wallet stolen, and it took like $1,700 out, and I was able to get the money back. And so I've had things happen to me in other countries as well, but I learned how to move in those countries. It's also important to have an emergency backup credit card just in case, But if you go out, like I said, and it, you just carry the cash that you feel that you're gonna spend, it's even better. Because if you do get robbed, like I said, you have a cheap cell phone, maybe like $100, no big deal. Here you go. Don't fight for it. Just give them the shit. All right. You go back home, you're good because you still have your cards and you still have your cell phone that you use. And so I think that's the best advice that I could give anybody that's coming over here anywhere in Latin America. Like I said, I've had friends that have been robbed in other countries as well, not just here in Colombia. But I just think like I'm hearing more and more stories of people, of this happening to more people here, And actually one of the girls at the reception the other day was telling us how she got robbed twice in 1 year at gunpoint. And it was kind of like, it's weird because I'm looking at this woman and it was kind of like, it was like something normal to her. Like it was normal. And I was just like, to me, if somebody robs me at gunpoint, like I'm just going to be paranoid and probably not go to the country for a long time. But I just kind of feel like, the atmosphere has definitely gotten like really bad in Medellin. Like the robberies have increased. The criminals don't have no consequences. There's nothing there. There's nobody. I mean, I don't know, man. Like the way, they did that young Asian man was so horrific. and I hope those people are brought to justice. But I think people need to realize how the justice system works here. It's all about money. And from what I'm hearing, the family's not doing a reward. And so, I wish them a speedy recovery, but it's not easy to go through this. I know they're going through a hard time, and I don't wish this upon nobody, but the one positive thing that we could get from this is like, it's getting a lot of news tractions. A lot of news outlets in America are talking about it. In Medellin, they're talking about it. And so people are definitely, it's word of mouth now, and everybody knows what's going on. So hopefully more people can be safe, and we could definitely bring the druggies down. I think even if they got rid of Tinder tomorrow, those girls are going to be in the streets anyways. They'll figure a way out, but the point is to learn how to adapt and move on forward, so this thing doesn't happen to anybody, And I hope, I've had a few people come to Colombia, Medellin because of me. Like I've told some of my friends if they come over here, and but you do have to be careful how you move here, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows, But I can understand why some people would not want to come over here for a while, because it's definitely dangerous. But people have to understand the history of Medellin. The history of Colombia has always been through a violent phase. Like even after Pablo Escobar was killed, there was like the Comuna 13, and those areas were split into two groups. You had the FARCs that were controlled in one section, and you had the private militaries controlled in another section. And so I just like, and dangers can happen anywhere, I saw like many years ago this YouTuber that was in Brazil, and she was from there too, from Rio, and she said there was like a bandit stop point. They're like stopping cars at gunpoint and taking everything out, and she said her car didn't stop, and so they shot inside the car, and she got shot on her shoulder, I believe. And she made it through, but she was a local. So it's happening to the locals, everywhere in many countries, and it happens here, just don't wear jewelry, don't wear, don't have your nice cell phone out, like you want to blend in as much as possible, and if you could come over here with a friend, that's even more better. But if you could meet some expats, join some groups, you could do the foreign language exchange, you could meet people like that, you could do the dancing lessons, you could do that. And so, you could do, hiking tours, like you could meet locals and stuff like that. And I've actually gone to the barrios and drank there. I've gone to San Javier, and it's just like, people just like, need to learn how to move when they come over here. And I hope, this video helps people. We do have to be more careful when we come over here to Colombia. Like, let's just be honest, like if something that bad happens to you, the police are not going to help you. They're not going to come save you. And you have to depend on those expats to help you out, or even some of the locals, So it's important, even if you go on a date now, I think if you go on a date, at least tell somebody that you're going on a date. Somebody local, somebody, an expat, hey, I'm going on a date, bro. If you don't hear from me from tomorrow, please check up on me. That's one of the safest things that you could do. You can hit up 4 or 5 of your friends and be like, hey, you know what? If I don't message you tomorrow by this certain time, by 1 o'clock, by 10 o'clock in the morning, or by 3 o'clock, that's the safest way I think you could like avoid something bad. Well, not something bad happening to you, but if something does happen to you, somebody can know like what's going on, So you go on a date here and be like, hey, you know what? Bob, or let's just make up a name, Bob. And like, hey, Bob, can you message me around 12 or 1? And if you don't hear from me, then, I guess something is wrong, like you could come check on me. And so, I saw one of the girls I know here, her friend didn't answer the cell phone, so she was kind of worried about him. And she's a local, and she actually went to the hotel, and actually the guy got his cell phone stolen. I don't know how, but so that was like a good girl that actually did something. She went to his hotel to go see he was okay. So if you can make those acquaintances, people that could check up on you, I think you're good, man. I think you'll be straight. I think when it comes to Colombia, you can meet some great people here, but you also, just be careful how you move. Like I said, the best advice that I could give y'all is pepper spray, that chain link for your cell phone. Don't carry your wallet, carry enough money that you're gonna spend. Have a backup cell phone, a throwaway phone that you don't care if it gets jacked. Back up your pictures, you never know. And also learn how to hide your stuff in your apartment. Hide your stuff. Don't leave your laptop in the open, and just in case you do get drugged, And if you can get a place that has security, tell the security, pay the security people maybe $20. Hey, you know what? Make sure I come out with this girl. Most apartments don't have security anyways, but if you do get an apartment with a security, pay the guy 100 mil pesos, which is $20. Hey, guy, make sure this girl comes out. Get the girl's social media. And you could do a coffee date. You don't have to take her to the club or none of that expensive shit, man. That's another thing. You guys are spending way too much on these girls, man. So you could take her to a coffee date, ice cream date. You don't have to do nothing big, man. If the girl's really interested in you, she'll do it, man. There's a lot of girls over here that are very interested and they take advantage of the Americans. A lot of girls, they have boyfriends and they go out with you just because their boyfriends kind of economically afford their party lifestyle. So don't be that dude. I've had friends that do it. I'm just like, bro, like, I'm not pocket watching either. I would never tell a grown-ass man how to spend his money on vacation, but I'm just telling you, like, if you really want to meet genuine people, you don't want to be around fake women, you want to be around good people that actually can be for your friends, care about you, that's how you have to move, man. Because the guys over here don't spend more than $20 on a date. Believe me when I tell you that. And so hopefully this video helps y'all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the channel. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subs. I'm already over, I think, 1,300 or 1,200. But leave comments and stuff like that. If you agree with me, you disagree with me, or you have any questions, you know. And I'm also going to be putting my new Instagram on the link below because I had to get another one. Obviously, my other one was hacked. But I hope you got something from this video, guys. And take care. And I'm going to be doing some more videos sooner.